Hello, everyone. I wish I could be with all of you at the University of Chicago, but I'm glad I have the opportunity to speak with you virtually for today's War Horse Symposium. First off, thank you to the War Horse Symposium for launching this event and to Kelly Kennedy for your insightful, deep reporting on the dangers of burn pits to our service members. And thank you to everyone, all of the advocates like John Stewart, VA Secretary McDonough, and organizations like Burn Pit 360 who helped us get the PACT Act signed into law. We made history with this law, and we could not have done it without groundbreaking journalism from newsrooms like the War Horse. This kind of journalism is a critical part of bridging the divide between service members and the civilian population. Finally, we've expanded VA benefits, treatment, and life-saving care to veterans in need, and while also giving the VA additional tools so they can increase staffing and improve recruitment and retention. Since the PACT Act became law, over 1 million veterans have been screened by the VA for toxic exposure, helping many to receive new benefits they didn't have access to before. But there's so much more to do. Our veterans put country over self, time after time, tour after tour. Despite the risks, despite the dangers that they know they could face, tens of thousands of the bravest people that you and I could ever know still volunteer to serve every year. I've witnessed the courage of our American heroes firsthand. In fact, I'm alive because of it. In 2004, an RPG tore through the cockpit of my Black Hawk helicopter, and the only reason I did not die in the middle of that field that afternoon was the selfless heroism of the troops around me. After we landed the aircraft, my buddies didn't know whether I was alive or dead, yet they lived every word of the soldier's creed. They refused to leave me behind and put their own safety at risk in the process. I'm here today because of them. They didn't care that I was an Asian American woman. They didn't care whether my name was Tammy or Tommy. They respected me because I could do the job that was asked of me, just as I respected them, my buddies, because I was willing to sacrifice whatever was necessary for my country, no matter my gender, my race, my background, or any other attribute, just like they were. They understood a simple truth, that the United States military is the greatest the world has ever seen, not in spite of our differences, but because our different abilities and experiences make us stronger. If you're willing to wear the uniform of this great nation, if you can do the job that's asked of you, that's pretty much all that matters. And when these heroes come home, they deserve more than just a simple thank you. They deserve action. The human impact of military service is often overlooked. It's one reason why I've been working to expand access to home and community-based services and finally end military hunger to ensure every service member has enough food to feed themselves and their families. We also need to do more to ensure flying is as safe and convenient as possible for veterans and all those who live with disabilities. And I'm proud to be working to get American evacuation standards to take into account the fact that someone in a wheelchair might also need to evacuate an aircraft in an emergency too. I'll never stop pushing to get these things done. After all, for our veterans who have so bravely served our country, it's the least that we can do. And now I'll turn it over to Dan Clare of Disabled American Veterans, an organization that continues to make a difference for our nation's finest. Dan?